Salutations, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. V back with another casted game of Age of Empires 3, episode number 46. I cannot believe we have already casted that many games. It feels like we just started yesterday, and honestly, guys, thank you so much. I'm feeling so grateful this week. The fact that you guys have followed me through all the mishaps and the mistakes, man, just has me feeling all sorts of fuzzy feelings. But enough of that. We are following the Incan explorer Lil Pump, which is a very traditional Incan name, as we all know. And we are on the map Korea. So let's dive into the civilization intros now that I have sufficiently wasted the first minute of the game. In the west half of the map, playing in the color blue as the Inca, we have Cringe Callan Crew. I don't know if that's a Smurf account. I don't know if it's a fan of the Callan. I'm a fan of Callan in a lot of ways, but I'm digging the vibe. CCC, very, very nice. And his opponent on the eastern half of the map, playing in the color red as the Ottomans, we have Uthrid. So two usernames that we have not seen on the channel before. Fairly high level, about 1,700. So definitely not in the top, but still very, very formidable. And it looks like the Ottoman player may have picked up a treasure there, but is now being pursued by Little Pump. And man, I just love this little guy. I'm just on his team. I try not to play favorites, but I am rooting for Little Pump. I'll just come out and say it. And meanwhile, looks like Inca is sending their first card, which is going to be 3 villagers. And looks like Ottoman sending Silk Road. So not going with the capitalism play, which we've been seeing out of a lot of Ottoman players. And Little Pump just continuing to harass, Ahmed Reyes, much more historically accurate for his explorer, but Little Pump, come on, man, just give this dude a break. Look at him swinging with this giant halberd thing. I think it looks like a halberd. It probably has some sort of traditional name, but man, I mean, this dude just can't get away. Little Pump is a tenacious warrior. And meanwhile, the trade card guy's just like, I don't want anything to do with this. Uthrid picking up 20 coins, so even while he's being stabbed in the back, he continues to get things for his colony. But now that the Chosky runner has gotten involved, I don't know if Ottoman's gonna get this trading post up. I don't think I've ever spent this much time on Explorer combat, but I think it's worth it. Is he gonna get it up? He's over halfway, but he's also down to 70, 60 HP, 50 HP, 40 HP, 30 HP. Little Pump is going to town. Ladies and gentlemen, he gets it up just as he dies. Wow. 3 minutes into the game, and we're already seeing some tight action between these two players. Speaking of advancing in the game, Uthrid is now going up to the second age, as is CCC, which I will be referring to him as CCC for the rest of the game. And he's going to pick up a 75 food treasure as well. Now, we'll see what Inca does. Inca can play fairly aggressive, and Ottoman has definitely shifted into more of a fortress or even industrial play, right? Age 2 Ottoman that we used to see a lot in Nilla with, the double racks Jan Rush or Jan Abus early. We're just not seeing it as much, and we can look at this deck. We have no unit cards in H2, ton of stuff in H3, and the most stuff is in H4. So I definitely think we're going to be seeing some sort of FI if the deck is any indication. Immediately slaps down the 700 coin, and he's going to have access to a lot of shipments with the 2 trading posts that he currently has. Meanwhile, Triple C is not quite up to the second age, but if we look at his deck, we see actually a lot of cards in H2, including quite a few units, quite a few upgrades, and the 2 war huts as well. So I'm not going to be surprised if we see very early aggression out of Inca, but we do know that Inca can pull off a pretty substantial boom as well. He does have 5 villagers, so Inca just very versatile, just such a good civ. He does have some H3 cards as well, mostly units, and a couple of cards in H4, but I definitely think we're going to be seeing some early aggression, slamming down the 2 war huts immediately, and out come the 5 plumed spearmen. Now, I actually did some research into some native units while I was just kind of, just messing around on my PC one day. And I found out that plumed spearmen actually do worse against cavalry than regular pikes, but they do better when it comes to their siege attack. And we can see this playing out, right? They have a 35 siege attack, just ripping down this trading post, whereas ordinarily 5 regular pikemen would still take it down, but certainly not this quickly. And out come the 2 war hut travois, going very, very central with this placement here. And if we look at the map create, it's a very standard map. We have 3 trading post sockets, we have hunts in the north, we have hunts in the south, and then some gold mines in the middle. So, a fairly standard setup. But we've seen good herding here from Uthra, getting lots of deer in, and these pikes aren't going to be able to do a lot of raiding unless Uthrid is sloppy with his villager control. Is he going to lose a vill here? He is! Not paying attention is Uthrid, and the old 5 pike raid getting some work done. That's not something you hear every day. Meanwhile, more Chosky runners are just going out and scouting the map. It looks like the Ottoman explorer has been killed once again. 5 settlers coming in for CCC. So he's not going to go into complete aggression, but he does want to harass this TP line before it can do too much for the Ottoman player. Meanwhile, Uthrid already getting up to H3. He sent 700 coin, followed by 700 wood to get down a lot of infrastructure, got down a mosque and some houses, but now losing those 2 trading posts, that's 400 wood. Although we do have to remember that because he sent Silk Road, he actually got quite a bit more in these resource shipments. I think it was closer to maybe like 825 resources. But now the delis are out. They are going to do precisely nothing against this growing number of plumed spearmen. And as far as I know, right now, plumed spearmen are the only things that Triple C has made so far, and more plumed spearmen on the way. I think we're up to like 15 spearmen, but I think Uthrid is, yes, he's sending the 5 Sipahis now. Sorry, Sipahis. And I think they'll be able to deal with these pikes, even though the pikes are their direct counter. They are age 2 pikes, and I think the splash damage of the Sipahis will still be able to take care of them, especially with help from the delis. But look at this mosque. It's just being demolished at such a quick rate. And these plumed spearmen are really doing a number, but out come the Bashi bazooks along with the Sipahi and the deli. This is a great pop from Uthrid. Very, very well timed. And see, this is something that newer players can learn from, is even if you are facing your counter, if you can get the timings right, you can still have a lot of success, right? So, I think a lot of players would have been like, oh, I can't put my cavalry against pikes, but he timed that out so well so that the Sipahis, the Minutemen, and the delis were all jumping on, and even those pikes couldn't handle it, even though they're supposed to do well against cavalry. But we have to remember that plumed spearmen actually not as good against cavalry as regular pikes. Look at this! Usually I'm not dropping this much game knowledge, but here we are. Everybody can grow. Meanwhile, Fort coming out for Uthrid, and where is he going to put it? Is he going to contest? No. Okay, so he's not going to try to contest the middle of the map at all, and I think that's smart. I think he would just immediately get destroyed by the plumed spearmen. We do have some Chimu runners coming out now, though I don't know how well they'll do against pure cav. Maybe he's expecting some sort of tech switch? Yeah, that's an interesting call. And looks like he's just going to make more plumed spearmen, which, with the concha houses, plumed spearmen are something that can be made very, very easily. And look at this mass of pikes. 19 pikemen, along with 6 Chimu runners. But again, those Chimus feel like more of an afterthought. Yeah, they were just a shipment. So he hasn't actually trained any unit besides the pikes. And now he's got a mass that's big enough that even these delis and these Sapahis, I don't think they'll be able to engage that directly. He does have the fort now. It is going to do a significant amount of damage, and he's even going to chase this away. And this is, again, smart by Uthred, right? He's trying to get some free damage, but now that he's engaging directly, I don't think this is the fight he wants to take. Meanwhile, CCC getting his Chimus in the back, taking out those 1 HP Minutemen. Very, very smart play. And I think that was a very poorly chosen engagement by Uthred. I like the idea of chasing the enemy, trying to get some free damage, but as soon as CCC's army turned around, I think he should have immediately gotten back behind his fort. He's got enough infrastructure here that with the 2 town centers and the fort, which, by the way, this town center's remained unbuilt for the past, like, 5 minutes. Is this a glitch? Is he stuck in the foundation? Why isn't this going up? Maybe he just forgot to build it? I don't know what's going on there. Possible glitch. Come on, AOE3, fix your game. Meanwhile, Triple C is sending what looks to be 700 coin now, and certainly looks like he's macroing to age himself. He's getting up food very, very quickly, and he's very soon going to have the 700 coin, which should give him enough to age. He has sent 6 Chimu runners, 5 Vills, of course, the 2 war huts, the 700 coin, and he also managed to sneak in Chicha Brewing, which is going to improve the efficiency of his conch houses quite substantially. Meanwhile, Uthred sending 1,000 coin, 5 Sapahi, and the fort. I think he is gearing up for an age 4 transition. He's got the necessary food, but he's still about 200 coin short, and I think this lack of coin is really going to start to hurt him here. I'm not super familiar with the Ottoman timings into FIing. This feels a little slow, and when I look at his base, I see a very, very worrying amount of resources, right? We've got a few exposed deer, we've got 1 coin mine, but this is all being watched very closely by Triple C's mass of plumed spearmen. And yes, he will be in age 4, but he's going to have very few units to actually protect anything with. Now, he might send the 22 Azaps, he might send the 6 Sapahis, or he might send the 9 cavalry archers. I think any of those would be okay. I definitely think sending the factories and the bombards right away is a mistake, because I think if he doesn't get out units quickly, these plumed spearmen are just going to come in and start tearing everything down, especially when they get an age 3 upgrade, as Callan is continuing to make plumed spearmen, just plumed spearmen. Let me remind you, he has not made any other unit from his war huts besides Pike this entire game. This is like 2005 Age of Empires 3, but just with a native civ, right? This is your standard like Spanish pike rush, just with a little bit of Incan flavor. And now he's sending Canary support for 500 gold, which gives him another 8 plumed spearmen. Okay, it actually, does it give them more HP? No, it gives them more hand attack. So it increases their melee attack speed. So he's not only going to get the age 3 buff for his spears, but he's going to get more spears, and he's going to get a melee speed attack buff on top of that. Meanwhile, Uthred is now in age 4 and sending 1,000 wood. I don't agree with that. I think he's putting up way too much infrastructure, and he's got way too few units. Now, at first, the fort was able to ward off that small number of spearmen. With the number of spearmen that Triple C has now, I mean, he's got 33 plumed spearmen. He could rip this fort down in seconds. So I don't know. I think this is way too greedy from Uthred. I think he needs units now. I would say maybe he needs like, I don't even know what he needs. What could he send? What would be the best unit to make? I think either 12 Abyss guns or 9 cavalry archers, right? He's got to be able to kite. Any unit that could kite could actually probably mop up all of these spears. Now, eventually they might get snared, but just not making any units at all. I'm starting to wonder what Uthred is trying to do here. He's even researching mercantilism, but again, just no units. And now the charge has been made by Triple C, and yeah, these spearmen are just going to come down and rip his entire base. How many spearmen does he have now? He's got 50 plumed spearmen. Okay, everybody watch these buildings disappear. Did you see that? That was like 4 seconds. Look at this fort's health. Look at it. Hold on, see if I can zoom in on that. Look at how quickly that's going down. And this is a fort, by the way, right? This is like the most powerful defensive building there is in the game. And these are hand infantry. And it's just no contest. And is Uthred sending anything? He's sending mosque construction. What? Okay, this has got to be a troll, right? There's no way he's taking this seriously. Did Uthred just throw this game? Am I being punked? I don't think so. This doesn't feel like a throw, but I mean, really? Not a single unit? What were you trying to do? Go Imperial? Oh my gosh, these plumed spearmen are just ridiculous. Look at this town center. It's just disappearing. Wow. This is disgusting. Palace intrigue coming in. Is he going for bombards? What are bombards gonna do at this point? Kill a few spearmen and then just immediately get ripped down? Oh man, he's even got macemen out now because he didn't have enough siege attack, right? So what we need in this army is more siege. But yeah, I mean, this game is over. This is such a weird matchup. I want to say that Triple C played this really well, but I think this was just a huge misplay by Uthred. Yeah, he's desperately trying to get a mosque up. He must be trying to do some sort of big button play. Must be trying to, yeah, he's got 1,000 wood saved up. He's trying to get something. I don't know what the unique units of the mosque are, but yeah, that was just a huge misplay. Which it's weird because if he had gone standard units, he would have countered that pretty easily. Now, would he have lost a ton of his infrastructure? Yeah, because at that point, I think Triple C would have just ignored any Abyss guns or cavalry archers, and I think he just would have continued to rip down buildings, right? But at least you're doing damage. You know, he wasn't doing any damage. He just had a ton of resources. And yeah, again, I don't know if this was a troll play. I really enjoyed it because I love watching units like this that are not your standard, like, prototypical age 3 units doing work. And I love one unit spams. As cheesy as they are, as angry as they make some people, I personally really love seeing them. They make the game entertaining. But let's look at this in a little more detail, see what we can find out. Follow me to the post game. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are in the post game, and I don't think there's much we can glean from this matchup. I mean, obviously a huge resource advantage for Inca, a huge economy advantage for Inca, a huge military advantage for Inca. I mean, the 113 plumed spearmen, that's absolutely insane. I'm convinced I don't think, and correct me if I'm wrong here, I don't think we saw a single unit be trained from the war huts beside plumed spearmen and a couple of macemen at the end. Because the Chimu runners that we saw, those were a shipment. So one unit spam on display here. And when it comes to the timeline, yeah, just very, very bottoming out for Ottoman. You know, granted, he was aging during a lot of that time. And then just a huge advantage for Inca. So you guys will have to let me know in the comments below. Did I just get trolled? Was I punked by a replay that was not actually a serious game? Please let me know. I had to still put it up because it was a really fun strategy to watch. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will be back next week with some Revnak versus Kanisi action, some of the best players in the community. So look forward to that. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, have a great day. Have a great life. See you later.